Welcome to the enLIGHTenUP podcast. I am your host, Nicole Frolick, and I invite you to cozy up with me each week as I explore all aspects of the spiritual journey, spiritual biohacking, and expanding the mind beyond this reality. Remember that the collective awakening can start by planting one seed, so thanks for being such an amazing audience and sharing these shows with your family and friends. So without further ado, let's jump right into the episode and find out what we're discovering today. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the enLIGHTenUP podcast. I am here with my good friend, Marina Jacobi, returning once again back to the show. Marina, how are you doing?
Hi, Nicole. Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody.
It's good to have you back. It always feels like home when you're around. And I think we're going to have a really fun time tonight. Hello, everyone in the live chat. I hope you're all doing well. Hi, Suiterbug. Good morning to you. Jennifer, Mark, Stephen, Beth, Rainbow Sun, and Dave from Above Duality. So good to see you all in the live chat. Hope you're all doing well. All right, guys. So just a little heads up. We are going to take some live questions towards the end. And when I say start dropping your questions in, I'm going to need you to put the question in capital letters so that I know how to find it. And then we can ask Marina your question. Please make all questions that are helpful to the collective, nothing personal. And we will get started. So, Marina, we're going to talk a little bit about quantum teleportation right now. And I think, actually, hold on one second while I just have to fix something here because I don't know why. Let me just turn that off. Okay, perfect. So I had an experience last Friday. And you were the first person I called after that whole experience happened to me. I'm pretty sure I teleported to another place from where I was while I was driving. And I'm pretty sure that there was ET involvement. So I thought it would be really great to get into this topic of quantum teleportation for the audience because when I did a video about it the following day, a lot of people were dropping in the comments that they had similar experiences while driving in the car, where there's no lost time, but all of a sudden they're somewhere else. And I thought maybe we could get into a little discussion about this. Can you kind of give us some insight into what quantum teleportation is from like the particle level, on the particle level?
Well, thank you. Well, it combined with the location of where you are into the field at the moment. So picture you in a hologram at the same time because you are the hologram. And when you have a certain space, within that hologram, like a space-time in a fractal in a now, that holds a specific vibrational sequence. However, if there is a discharge in a structure of some situation, and that could be implemented from the higher realm, or some thoughts that you had that you end up building frequency into your mind, that becomes a very strategic location, and you can have a bilocation by completely calling into your mind location of whatever you must go, because that location, whatever you must go, holds its own hologram, its own frequency, its own sequences of sound and vibration. And when you don't forget that your higher consciousness knows how to do that, but from your perspective of this reality, you did not open yet the knowledge to understand all that, how it works. But when you study the quantum manifestations, when you understand how everything works, it becomes easily to understand how this is possible. So when you, in your consciousness, call in that location somehow, even if it's subconscious, it becomes completely the momentum of your fractal in the now shuts down, and you teleport into direct location into that space. So if that happens, depending how this happens, your mind, for example, does not hold the vibration of the memory of how that happened, because how that happened is above your conscious understanding of your previous reality in the now. So, but because now we are ascending and we are opening this knowledge and little understanding of it, you're aware that I shouldn't be here. What just happened? And what just happened is one part of that. The other part could be you are being, for example, abducted, but I'm not talking abduction. I'm talking your galactic family, or for some reason your subconscious decided to connect with the higher self or the galactic family or the spacecraft. You immediately are being taken from that location. That, for example, the way Nicole was traveling, you may have complete experience even for 2 days in a spacecraft, and they may end up talking to you about something, downloading information, and they will relocate you back into space-time. But that's going to be a new that's going to be could be the same memory of the structure, but could be will be definitely new earth, a new location, because you're creating in the moment, in the now, constantly new structures in new earth. That's what the quantum structure is. So sometimes, depending of the situation, that could be a bilocation, or that could be abduction. To give that, how that happened with Nicole, I don't get information for that, but it's one of those couple of things. And if you have similar experiences like that as a childhood or even now, understand that it could be different situations why this happened. My suggestion is not to question why, who, and how, and get in fear, but just embed the information of your understanding, perhaps through the quantum, and allow this to unfold, because this could be just a spark of something that is going to be triggered within you to continue whatever you need to do. When some information needs to be downloaded, they may download it to you, if it's galactic family or higher self, in a very different ways of of downloads in situations. You may have different situations. You may end up in a store that somebody will say something to you, but that could be holographic imprint in your consciousness from extraterrestrials or your higher selves or councils that needs to say something to you. So, for example, you don't do something you shouldn't be doing. And whoever is already telepathically connected to the galactic family or the higher self, you may have a situation that you could be told, wait, or don't go there. And when you connect it the way, for example, I have open channeling, you may talking to somebody, you may walking around the woods, and you constantly hearing somebody talking, or you literally having a conversation nonstop. So when you have a very difficult situation, you can hear, wait, don't go yet, wait, don't go. And that could be to protect you for something, or not to create another situation if you are in a challenging situation, basically something that may really harm you. And bilocation, teleportation, we talk just about bilocation, but teleportation it's almost like the same thing. You call in a different stuff, but in teleportation, is consciously, when it's consciously down, you have this ether codes around you, like a hologram, that is sound, vibration, and sequences in geometry also, that based on your thoughts and emotion, you can open up a portal, and you basically travel to this portal to certain stargate or certain locations or certain galactic platforms. That is going to be based on an individual base, how you do that. However, there is a knowledge from the original blueprint of God consciousness and God's knowledge, that is the original material of what are the proper God's sound, resonances, words, And when you know how to speak that language, but understand that language is a light language, that language could be vowels only, could be symbolism only. And for example, negative side may use that for opening realms, for example, but could be twisted in a way that is not originally from God. So you end up in locations that you shouldn't be going, or you're being trapped. So this knowledge could be used for positive and negative. However, what I do and what I promote is the positive structure. That's what I choose to do, and I'm going to continue doing that. So when you start tapping into this knowledge, certain information will be given step by step. So we opening the knowledge for basically the true geometry, the true sound and vibration. But the true sound and vibration, in order to be downloaded, your consciousness has to be in a level of understanding. And remember, if anybody follows me and study the quantum manifestation from season 1 and so on, you will realize that you have to implement good deeds and good actions, because the good deeds and actions, they're projecting this sound vibration like a sonic laser into your quantum field, and when it comes back as a feedback, is actually accumulating and into potency your heart structure. And the truth is that the true codes into what opens the portals and locations and stargates is connected with the heart. Because if you embed these codes from consciousness itself, your extraterrestrial family, different downloads could be given into your consciousness and heart. And based on what's happening, you will be able to unlock with the keys is actually your emotion, your heart, your sequences. And that will open certain locations for teleportation or stargates, so you can go through. My last video of season 4, episode 11, I believe, there is a code for Mother Aria, which is Gaia with a new name, is Aria, New Earth, fifth dimensional, or Aria. And this is basically, there are the codes for Stargate portal. So we pray on April 22nd, because these codes are connected with sound frequency and a Stargate. In a collectively, when you read these codes and when you pray for these codes, you basically see you creating a new portals. But that portal, in order to be embedded and really works in your heart structure, you have to contain specific resonance to match that portal. You can't go through the portal or create this reality if you, in your conscious and in your heart, you are not doing anything beneficial of humanity, or you are simply greedy or corrupt and everything else. So this is partial how things work.
Yeah, no, that's a lot of great information. And just speaking of the heart, like the heart resonance and being able to open a portal, like holding certain codes, one of the pieces of information I was given after the experience, after meditation and all of that, was that part of the reason why this happened was because I had cut energetic ties with certain people in my life that were maybe even attached to very toxic or very low frequency people who weren't acting from the heart. And that because I was doing it from a place of love for myself, as well as acting in a way that models self-respect and self-value to keep my field clear and protect myself, that in itself helped raise the frequency or open my heart field to allow for the connection to happen on some level. Like that was part of it.
Are you asking me a question for that?
Is it so I guess my question is, can you speak a little bit about that? Because that's one of the questions that came up a lot, which for everyone on that video, I will do a video on what I do for cord cutting, energy cutting, all that kind of stuff to raise frequency later this week. But can you speak to the importance of that when it comes to being able to have these experiences, such as this one or other ones that need the heart codes to open the portal?
Well, that's going to be individual level, depending how the person and what level. Some of these codes will be collected by the individual, and some of these codes, especially when it's different rounds in different situations, you're already going to have telepathic or some kind of a connections with your higher self and your guides. And also your guides can help you to change the heart frequency and the structure physically, to the point that when this happened to me, I popped out of my body because I was sitting, I was in detox. And the reason why I did the detox for so long, because your molecular structure has to be in a certain resonance to be even able to switch the heart structure. That will change the DNA also, just detox and stuff like that. But that was guided from the hybrids. And I end up meditating, and they were telling me, and I was in location in a specific codon in my DNA, and the entire codon from letters that were almost like a hieroglyphs, they were in energy. They change into water, into some kind of a movement like that. And when that happened, I was directed to be for 15 days only on a juicing at that time. And when I complete the 15 days, I was sitting in my bedroom and writing something, and I heard, "You ready?" And at the moment I heard that, I experienced where a hand went under my chest and went into my body, and I felt that energetically, literally, and somebody grabbed my heart and pulled it out. And when that happened, it wasn't hurting, it was just the energy field, and I went like this. And when this happened, I pop out of my body, and I was hovering over my body, and I go, "Oh, I'm over my body." I'm looking around and all the stuff. So not even a couple of seconds, while I'm hovering, I was somehow connected with the feeling of my body. And the hand went back in, and I felt that something went in again, and was like my heart. But soon as that happened, I immediately went back into my body. I was completely aware, and I go, "Oh, that was interesting." And they said to me, "Now you have been activated. You have a new heart." And I said, "Oh, I pop out of my body." And they go, "No, you died." And I said, "What do you mean I died?" And they said, "Well, this is what death is, if you call it through three-dimensional structure." And I said, "That's very interesting." So they said, "Now you have the new heart. That new heart holds the new codes, and that new codes, depending on how you do and the specific protocol that you do, you basically, every time the frequency increases more, the heart frequency resonance releases and unlocks new gates, new structures of geometry and sound. And eventually, when it reaches the proper level, you are basically going to have a contact, physical contact. And that is absolutely possible for everybody. But to that level, you have to be guided from your guides. Because if you go to this detox diet, and if you become only on water, the way I can survive on water and stuff, but now I'm already 10 days in only water. I did honey and water. I cheated a little bit with food, and then I couldn't hold it. I had to, get out of my body. But I'm continuing with that. And you basically feel energy, but I will never ever suggest anybody to do that, because you can physically die or hurt yourself. The only way you're going to do that, if you connect with your guides, and and I strongly suggest you do the elimination diet. To have the detox protocol in my YouTube channel, The Harmonic Reactor. Follow that protocol, but understand that this protocol is elimination diet every 2 weeks, and it takes like a year. So basically, all that is connected, because when you, not only we're talking here by location and doing all this stuff, understand that you don't have to die to go to another realm or to go to another timeline, parallel reality. You are simply raising the vibration of your molecular structure and consciousness, and you create a new earth or new parallel realities moment to moment, when that's going to lead you to locations and structures that even going to be beyond the fifth dimensional structure into your galactic family in a spacecraft that could be 7 dimensional and add to 5D, and you can bilocate or have a contact with them. And the reason for that is because after you open the stargates and stuff through the heart, after you have this, not only that it has to be very specific locations, so your heart holds and your consciousness holds the star grids of these particular realities in a quantum structure. Remember, it's got to be a location, and that location does not only have a place that you can see it right now. This is going to be beyond your reality. That is going to be a parallel timeline somewhere in a new galactic, new universe, something that is not in three-dimensional. And you must have a very specific codes, but understand these codes also hold sounds, geometry, vibrations, and you will not be able to get into these realms if your consciousness and molecular structure are not compatible with it. Also, not only that the body has to hold that, but the reason for that is so important because you have to be able to hold physically and consciously their vibrational sequence, or you're going to evaporate. They may take you on board, but somehow somebody is holding your blueprint into that reality through technology or some other situation. So you need to hold in the molecular structure the frequency of it, or they can take you in another level out of body, which basically becomes a second imprint of your consciousness and is almost like a holographic imprint that you can hold and talk. So this is also different stuff that is possible to do. And that's why it's important for us to connect with the extraterrestrials, to understand that artificial intelligence in a fifth dimension and above is not bad. Mm-hmm. They also in technology, because if 100 years ago somebody told you that you need to go and take a CT scan, you're gonna think that this is something so crazy, so evil, oh my God, and all this stuff. Well, let me tell you, the fifth dimensional AI can do similar stuff and even more. You're gonna find yourself in a virtual reality that is imprinting everything you see. It's like a virtual game. There's nothing wrong with that, but the way it's interpreted and the way it could be used for evil and could be used for good. There's no differences. Your perception is the one that is controlling everything. So mm-hmm. It's going to be, everything is being given into your hands, and it's up to you how you want to experience the realities. But because of that, whatever you accumulate, then the portals and the bilocations and the realms that you're going to experience is going to be based on that, because you cannot open realms that you as a consciousness body and whatever you accumulated in your heart do not contain.
Okay. Well, you said something there interesting that it brings me to a question I wanted to ask you, which I don't know if you'll have the answer to or you need to channel it. But what is the purpose of plasma in our ability to maybe be on the ship, or what is that part of the technology that's being utilized for us to have these experiences so we don't evaporate? Can you talk about the plasma?
So that has a lot of layers. Plasma could be experienced in a different way. It could be plasma from nano, plasma from frequency and sound, plasma that holds specific magnetic and gravitational field, and in there you can create different structures. It's a multiple layers to that. So which one we're talking about?
Well, from what I understand, I spoke to someone who's had ET contact and taken on ships through this kind of mechanism. And she talked about the plasma and saying that it was important for me to have amino acids and protein for the next couple of days to help with the plasma. And what her
specific vibration, mm-hmm. She needed, this is exactly coloration, how you the same thing, like similar to what I was taught, that your body has to hold that. So she needed specific nutrients, but understand that the nutrient itself has a resonance. And that resonance was necessary to be increasing her body through the nutrients, which is the matter, mm-hmm. In order for her to be able to hold that plasma teleportation device or whatever they use for her to be able to bilocate or teleport to this location.
Okay. And from what I understand, let me know if I'm misinterpreting it wrong or misunderstanding it, but that there is like a lingering of plasma in our body when we come off a ship. Um, is is that true? Like is what and what is the plasma then that would maybe be in our body lingering? Is that part of
It's
what
more
was
like
used?
a lingering. It's
Pardon?
more like a lingering.
Mm-hmm.
It's aftermath, and it's going to hold some sequences of vibration until it subsides, and yet it's going to have the memory of it. It's almost like imprinted. So when the next, I'm channeling this right now, that's how I know. So when the next time this happens, is basically it's much easier. The codes are already there, and it's easier to usually she would experience this in the first time, like more, like things to do. The rest of the time is going to be much easier.
And what does the plasma, how does that affect our DNA once we've had that experience and then maybe have more experience? What is that doing with our DNA? How's that interacting?
Well, it has to be part of it. It becomes part of it. It mutates your DNA in a certain sequence. Depending what type of plasma you also put, understand that depending how it's used. Somebody can use plasma for altering the DNA with specific code that is not exactly beneficial. Plasma is connected with energy, with sequences, so we contain certain frequency, and also has to be protected, has to be held in place. It's a very specific, complex technology.
Okay. So would this technology then potentially for one use be that it's assisting in the ability to transition, so to speak, from one reality into another?
If you wish to do so, keep asking the questions because I'm channeling.
Okay. So I was watching, for instance, two ETs in my third eye in meditation later that night when I wanted to connect with what exactly happened. And I was shown two Zetas because they had elongated skulls and really big eyes. Working with technology, and while they were working with the technology, I saw the force field around my car, me driving, expanding and then collapsing, expanding and then collapsing. It did that several times, and all of a sudden when it collapsed, I poof was gone.
That's why this is part of the this was actually more like a laser point pulsation that expanded into like a surface of sound, like a sphere, and when it reached the proper sequence you were in location.
Okay. Okay. So how do I word this properly? Is there a reason? Okay, can you explain? I heard the word time lock. Is that so that there would be no missing time? Is this part of the quantum teleportation or maybe bilocation? I heard the words time lock when all of this was happening, and then extension interplay. What's that all about?
We just gonna say that we want you to unlock the time lock. You don't want to be locked into anything. You want to be able to move through. So it's going to be unlocked. Just unlock it.
Okay. Why? It seems that many people are starting to experience this more frequently. Is there a specific reason as to why? Is it just soul contracts, or is there something more happening on the Earth's surface that's allowing this experience to be had more frequently with individuals?
This has nothing to do with the Earth's surface. Think of interdimensional reasons. And that will be depending on individuals.
So part of the mission work then to receive information, to gather more information for work that being done down here?
What we can say for your particular experience, this is connected with location of places that you are going, and you end up entering a specific wormhole that work was done. We should say that you kind of end up in a place that was not expected.
Meaning when I was in the mountains
Indeed.
or somewhere else?
Before, when you started, yes.
Okay. Okay. What are some of the markers that allow this to happen to a certain individual? We talked about the heart resonance. Are there other things that are markers that would allow for this to happen for people?
There are multiple levels to different people. Depending of agreements, it's actually truly complex, because that is connected with ascension, is connected through bloodlines, depending of what locations, what agreements, and its multidimensional decisions. It goes through layers and layers of councils.
Would the experiences of this kind of teleportation, perhaps to a ship, if someone's experiencing that and maybe receiving information or having that experience, is it in, okay, how do I say this? Is this for the purpose?
It's a confusion here, because there are multiple layers of realms and ET groups, including multidimensional beings that are involved from negative side and positive side, because everybody is pulling to be into their location of realms and connections. So that is multiple layers to say to every single individual that they have the same experiences, or every bilocation is something positive or negative, is hard to say. Because, for example, the way it happened with you, you were in location where you should not have been, and you end up cutting into that structure, and this is why you end up in a different location, because you were interfering without him expecting in that particular location. It happened literally in a split of a second.
So are you saying I was removed from a place so I wouldn't interfere with something?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
You were simply pushed aside.
Pardon?
You were simply pushed aside.
Okay, so the highway that I was driving on, I was not supposed to be driving on at that particular time.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. Was this, it feels to me that this was also this clearly done for my benefit.
We should say so.
Okay.
You are asking for information that cannot be given more of it.
Yes, I feel that. Okay. What about...
And by the way, Marina has no idea what we're talking about. It's not given to her. She doesn't see it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Understood.
Protection.
With the I just had a question, and when these experiences are happening to people, what is the best thing for someone to do after the experience?
Have no fear. It's meant to be. Have no fear.
Okay. And I've still got a couple more questions, but guys, in the audience, if you want to start putting your questions in, please put the word question in capital letters. No, nothing personal, please. Just something that will help the audience and those watching. When it comes to timeline splitting, are some of these experiences or work on the ships assisting the pull into the more positive timeline?
Yes, perhaps your higher self.
And it feels like we are coming up to a major timeline split of realities here on Earth. Are there specific experiences we may begin to have as we get closer to the timeline split?
Before it gets better, it's going to get worse. It's going to be dark to light. So in that light, you're going to see all the evil that has been done to you and is revealed fractally. It's almost like they boil in you. It's going to reach a boiling point that you will be questioning if anybody that is putting something like this is sane. All that will be given to you. For example, why don't you watch your Grammy Awards? That is a prime example of what we are suggesting.
Okay, so it's going to get worse, and that's how we're going to know, like before we see the light, that we're coming to that timeline split?
In order to defeat the darkness, you must see it for what it is.
Okay. And are there any events that may be markers that show us we are nearing the split or have entered it?
You're already in it. Look what is happening around your country. Does that make sense? Ask yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You are in the midst of it.
Okay, so we're already in motion of the split.
Already in motion.
Okay, we have a question here. When we make music or create art, we learn from artists that may have been part of the negative abuse in the past. Does this negative energy stay in their reality if we focus on our bubble?
There's no such thing as bubble. You create holographic imprints moment to moment. Negative reality, yes, you may reprint some of the frequencies, and yet you have the choice and the ability to switch it. Depending on how much you accumulate of it, it may take more time to mutate from something negative to positive. Do not give up on your tries. Continue, and eventually you will achieve what you are seeking for.
Okay, understood. Do we travel in time-space when we bilocate?
There is no time, but if you look at it from a linear perspective, yes, time, space, we will say location. Yes, you do.
Okay. This question comes from Hazel. How were they alerted to the fact that Nicole was in the wrong place? Were they watching her, or was there some sort of trigger?
Sometimes you end up in a place that something is being done for some reason. And for example, some bystander is coming there and stopping everything you do. What would you do? This is what happened. So
Okay.
nobody was hurting her, but actually was more of a putting her aside so she doesn't interfere with whatever they were doing.
And was there a specific trigger, or are they always watching? Like, what was the alert that they got?
Seeing you.
Okay, so watching. Okay. Thank you. From Alfredo, any advice for us to secure our timeline to be on the positive timeline?
Study your quantum structure of manifestation is going to give you the knowledge that unlocks your creation of alchemy, how you project and construct and deconstruct realities and timelines. That is your freedom. Use your knowledge to create reality that you will choose to move forward. You have all that we gave you to succeed in that.
Yes, everyone, go to season 1, episode 1 through 4 on Marina's YouTube channel, and study those 4 episodes like your life depends on it. This is from Janie. Are some of us being taken in our sleep at night for downloads?
Depending on agreements and the person. It's multiple layers to that.
Okay. Ursa asks, when will it end in Canada? I guess she's referring to the state of everything there right now.
Watch America first. Everything will be continuing from there.
Okay, this is a question I've never heard before. What's the difference between bilocating and trilocating?
Different sequences. You can appear in multiple realities at the same time. Trilocation.
Okay. How does one know if we are going to continue on the right side of the split?
Use the knowledge we just mentioned and act on your heart, and you are already there.
Okay. This question is from RP. Is the increase in common law straw man activity a valid path to follow? Is it related to ascension or 3D?
It is related to ascension. However, we are suggesting you pull back a bit and observe until all your negative structures of your dominion are down, because there's still some key players that must be taken down.
Okay. This is from Falcon Paz. What about in sleep? I think they've awakened feeling and seeing silver beam entering the crown, down the third eye, exiting out of the body, and immediately ran to the restroom just 3 days ago. Is it reminding of a purge or change?
We are sorry, we do not understand the question. We can see it's a confusion for us.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused by it myself. What would be the silver beam come entering the crown through the third eye and exiting out of the body?
Look into liquid matter.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, there's a question here, but I don't know what it's referring to. Isn't this similar to emanation through the light body? Brooklyn Way, I'm not sure what it's being similar to. If you can just let me know in the chat, then I'll be able to understand the question better. Okay, so Falcon Paz, a beam of light awoke in you, so look into liquid matter and you will get more help in understanding that. Is the Keshi Foundations going to help elevate us?
The answer is no.
Okay.
It's going to be a multiple layers of things.
Okay.
Would be a part of understanding, but is not the only. And you must be careful when you implement this technology. Some of the structure is not complete, and if you start using these platforms without knowing what you're doing, you opening a structure within the field of your field, and you may end up with cancer. So whoever is using that to teach, you have not been given the entire platform. Be aware.
Okay. Okay, going back to the question, is the deconstruction of time momentarily, is that similar to the emanation through the light body?
Repeat the question, please.
Regarding the deconstruction of time momentarily, is that bilocatively tethered to light body emanation?
The question has a multiple layers of answers and is not answered correctly. So we wish not to answer it.
Okay. This is a question that's coming up a couple times. If people receive the vaccine, will this prevent them from ascending?
There are specific codes that are given from God source itself. And if you pamper with these codes through any type of implementation of any type of source, you will mutate your DNA to a different structure, or that implementation could deplete your DNA of what is needed. So be wise of what you're putting in your body. Let that be your decision. All your information is right in front of your face.
Is it possible to reverse some of the effects of the vaccination through your own quantum manifestation of healing?
Not this one. Yet, through conditions, something may happen to certain individual, but not in population.
Okay.
You be wise.
Understood.
We do not wish to continue without questions regarding vaccines.
So no more questions regarding vaccines?
No more questions regarding vaccines.
Okay.
You have your answers.
Okay. Is the split and how it plays out in our reality known by our higher self already?
I have to stop channeling.
Okay.
Repeat this question, please.
Is the split and how it plays out in our reality already known by our higher self?
Oh, yeah. That is definitely known. Because in the quantum structure, in order to see it, you already know it. You're just projecting it to experiencing it. It's vice versa also.
Okay. Here's another question that's not related to the V. Is this reincarnation wheel karma finished if we choose so?
You have to work on it for sure. If you accumulated some stuff, but think of it as a key point of that. If, for example, you're doing something and you end up in some kind of a family situation, friend situation, or you are at work and you see people completely doing stuff that you are not part of, that you don't think this way, that's like a key point of you must switch something. But the switching is got to be taking action. I personally know a lawyer that owned a firm with a partner, and the environment was so toxic compared with her belief system, because if you don't do what they believe, she was almost outcast and mistreated, and because she knew so much of the stuff, for example, we talk about, to the point that instead for her to be in this toxic environment and keep meditating and everything is changed. Remember, meditation is one thing as a blueprint. And I talk a lot about this in my material, but you have to take the action. So she sold the business to the partners because she didn't want to be in this toxic environment anymore. And went ahead and end up going into helping people through basically the trafficking of children. So that's how you can distribute in the name of humanity, for example, from her own perspective and way. But we all can take the choices and take different paths if we choose to. If you see something that you completely don't agree, you can create reality within the reality and you're going to be fine. But for how long you can hold the vibration when everybody around you is behaving in a such a way and you are the outcast? So take the action so you're no longer the outcast. Or if you see somebody that you, for example, does different than you, you're not judgmental because you see what's happening. The reason what's happening right now, they try to introduce into humanity, especially the young generation, that different levels of certain behavior that are normal. And that's why even in Bible says that in the end time, good will be called evil and evil will be called good. And look what's happening all over and what they're promoting on TV. Even I don't know, was that the Grammy or something yesterday that they were doing? And I never watched it because I don't resonate at all with the level of behavior. I think was what I saw, specifically from my point of view, was absolute disgrace. And God forbid parents do not watch their young generation, because nobody's teaching your kids to be ladies and gentlemen. Is completely repulsive behavior. That should be never shown on national TV, and yet they shut down Dr. Seuss. I mean, this is exactly the example of end times. But understand that this is not the end time of the planet Earth and we all die. No, this is shifting of two timelines in reality, when we'll finish one timeline and you continue with the next one. But it's up to you, depending on what you accumulate and if you consent to all that manipulation. But why do you consent to the manipulation? Because the people are put their ego in, and they do not wish to expand their knowledge, or basically to learn more about it or to look into it. And if you watching only the mainstream social media, this is the programming that is happening into the human consciousness. Understand that the TV is actually sound vibration hologram that somebody is projecting in your consciousness, so you can believe and vibrate on their narrative timeline. And this is what is happening. So watch your kids, be very careful of what you're teaching them. Everything is in your hands right now, because right now we are in the middle of the battle between good and evil, and we are making it as a human race. But if you want to be part of that timeline, you have to take the action. You cannot just pray and hoping somebody else is going to do the job. You are the one that projecting the whole reality. That's what you're going to study in the quantum manifestation. And the fact that in your reality, everybody that is imprinted will be based on your sequences. So if you want to change, don't wait for government to change. You change your behavior, change your perspective, and based on that, you're creating a new earth when everybody is vibrating in your perspective and situations. And that will happen fractally. It's not going to be one day you hear and the next day everything is perfect. You're going to see changes slowly but surely, because at the same time you came to experience these fractal realities and timeline, and nobody's going to give you everything at once. You have to earn it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important to take the action. We can't stress that enough, guys. In whatever way you can take an action to imprint the reality that you wish for, of the resonance that you wish for in your day to day. And it's not big things that have to happen, like just little things, like choosing not to listen to a song that resonates with the destruction of the soul of humanity, like not listening to that, or not watching a TV show that imprints that into your mind, into your reality further. Those are like really simple things. Choosing to read a book that lifts your vibration up and helps you expand your knowledge. All these sorts of things. Choosing to hang out with people that support you helps you build a reality that's more supportive, so you don't feel like the outcast, like you were saying before. All of these things are ways that you take an action to imprint the reality further and further into crystallization. So that was great, Marina.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Lisa, for the super chat. She said thank you to you and me for having this talk. Yeah. They loved it. And yeah, I think we are at very interesting times where I know for myself, I mean, Marina, you can offer whatever you want to, but I've chosen not to get pulled into a lot of the drama of politics anymore. Whatever they may be, doesn't matter if I agree or don't agree. It's just, to me, everything just is one big distraction away from what I'm trying to create. And so, whatever I can focus on positively, even limiting my social media time, because I find that also sucks my life force out of me and it irritates me on a level that I don't even, it's very minute. You know, you don't even, if you're not fully aware, you don't even realize how much it's affecting you on a cellular level. So, what about you? Is there anything that you've been doing that you found has been helpful in creating more of the reality you wish?
To learn to fluctuate your emotions from negative to positive is crucial for creating a signal of imprints into your timelines fractally moment to moment that holds similar or the same vibration as the previous, because that will create very potent laser signal into your field, and that will create a permanent timeline where the outcome is positive. And all this knowledge is in my videos, guys. Okay,
Yeah.
so please study, and please do not jump right away in season 4. You're gonna get lost, because I recently had people, oh, nothing Marina said was a prediction, and I explained, yes, I said a lot of stuff that was predicted 2017. I talk about virus. I predicted 2016 Trump, and I told everybody that everybody listen to me, do not get out of the country, even until 2023. Then all the shutdown happened, so some people got locked up, but some people got saved. So, but at the same time, there's a fluctuating realities. You may have something happen, but the way you work in a positive, the negative side is clever. They know how to enter realms and twitch stuff. They can hijack platforms of realities, and then you continue again and again. But the end result is in the name of humanity. How that will happen, you may have key players change, you may have different situation happen, may not be exactly the way it's given, but understand there's no such a thing as exact prediction in a moment will change. The end result is already locked in 100% in place, but in between is so much fluctuations that if one person cannot succeed with what, for example, the mission is, another situation in place will happen, because God would never self-destruct. It has to survive, and this is the reason why have faith, stay in a positive, act in a positive. Do not wait somebody else to do the job for you. You be the beacon of light. You project the goodness, so somebody learn from you. Have no ego into it. If somebody challenge your consciousness with something, look into it. Don't point fingers because it's something that you don't believe, or because that's what is separating everybody, and that's what they try to do. The way, for example, the Congress right now and passing, I don't know if you know what's happening with the farmers, that they're gonna give 20% to the people with color, and the white farmers will not get anything. And if you really learn everything, and if you learn your history, ask yourself what party started KKK. Learn your history. They erasing your history. You don't know. And I'm not even born in America, and I probably know more than some Americans, which should be embarrassing for some people. So you need to understand what really is behind. This is not about a party. You have to understand that. But they did everything possible to become about a party. So we all fighting between each other, which is a diversion, while in the other location, they're doing whatever they need to do, because the way Nicole was in the wrong location, they're trying to remove you out of the stuff so they can do their job. So you idolizing people that are basically absolutely negative in their core, by creating charities and doing everything else. And you basically, this is what's really happening. And in order for you to find the core of all that, you've got to do a lot of research. And that's why you have people like me and Nicole. And once you start resonating in this structure and you start asking questions, just because you start asking questions, God, you are part of the structure. Trust me, information will be downloaded in your field, where you're going to find the right people and the answer to your questions. Okay, so this is that how it works. But before you do that, you have to take the action. And no matter what you believe, forget about it. I'm telling you, leave everything open, because into the quantum structure, you have to see it to believe it. That's what they told you, because they can tell you whatever you see in the TV is true. And what they taught me is you have to create it to see it, because somebody took your power and they told you that the mirror image is the real you. And it's that simple. So you're going to believe that whatever they tell you of numbers of somebody sick, you think that's true. What about if I tell you that it's nothing like that? If it's absolute charade so you can stay in fear. Well, fear is a frequency. That frequency is completely lowering your vibration and you locked into their timeline. This is how it works. And you have to know what's really happening. So some people say, for example, oh, I don't want to listen to because it's too bad. And look what they're doing to the children. Well, how would you know how to play that game if you don't know the game laws of that? You need to know what the game is. What are who are the players? You don't even know the players because you idolizing the players that exactly from the negative side. And it's not hard to find who these people are. You just have to dig a little bit deeper and be clever and leave everything open. Because some people that think they're so educated and so clever, actually, some of them went through the biggest brainwashing system from the negative side, because they told you the law is not the law of the land, is the law of the corporation. They told you math that is not the math of the structures of the light, is the math of that is lacking you and looping in reality so you can't discover what's happening. And they told you medicine that is not connected with really the bylaws of the consciousness and the body, but it's something that is looping you and you constantly seek to feed the big beast with the money. And in early 1900s, all the doctors were using remedy and herbs, and after Rockefeller, everything turned into pharmaceutical overnight. So how you think this is possible? And by the way, my son, when my son was sick, the doctors didn't know what to do, and I used every stuff. What actually healed my son, gut flora, because was all destroyed from gluten. It was only herbalism, because the herbs hold the true vibration and has so much nutrients. But guess what, guys? Some of these herbs was almost extinct, some of them. And that's why they're telling you kill the weeds. Kill the weeds. Are you aware that there's super weeds that are more in potency and power, and they're giving you roundabout that's basically changing your DNA from girl to boy and boy to girl, look into roundabout, and that is scientifically proven. And that you spray around, you spray with the toxicity that goes into the streams of the water. And this is one version how you change in your DNA and you become impotent. Look into GMO, look into Seeds of Death movie documentary, and you will see what the GMO down the third generation cannot have kids anymore. So it's everywhere. You guys have to be clever. You have to do your research. Nobody said it's easy, but if you're watching this show, if you're part of this earth, you took a agreement to come into the ascension so you can help this planet, and you help the planet by taking action and project the light, not by sitting back and expecting somebody else to do it, by complaining and posting, oh my God, look at that child was trafficked, or this is what happened. I pray for you. Really? Prayer only is not going to do it. You have to take an action. So donate to these people, or go do something the way this lawyer did. This is how it's going to work. You have to be warriors and stand up and fight for this planet, because it's time. And I'm not talking with guns. That's actually because this is another distraction, because they have such a super technology to frequency and sound that, and don't run for the mountains, please. Just learn the quantum structure and create a new realities. And this is what is going to shift you. Okay.
Yeah. And Mark, yes, she was meaning Roundup. It's at the end of the day, guys, it's about where you're going to put your focus, your energy right now. And I think the most important thing is that do what you can to shift the energy from going towards the negative into a positive timeline. And that may mean disengaging with certain systems that you've always engaged with, certain people, certain programs, all different kinds of things. But do it from a place of it's what you choose for you, without trying to step on anyone else's journey. If someone comes along to ask you questions, they've opened the door for you to assist. But at this point, I feel like anywhere where we're trying to awaken people or push awareness onto people, it's going to be counterproductive. People need to be ready to see it and want to hear it. And it can kind of bring your own vibration down if you're in that resistance. So just stay true to you, stay true to your path, focus on the love and the heart structure, and focus on Marina's Quantum Manifestation Season 1 through Episode 1 through 4. Watch it religiously over and over. You'll learn more and more as you do. And if you want to join her live calls, they're every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And
every Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And you have to subscribe to my website in order to receive the direct links for all that.
Yeah. And in there, you can have an opportunity to ask her questions as well. So you can go to marinajacobi.com to sign up for her newsletter to get those links. And of course, she's got books there that you can download. And if you feel like donating to her mission, she's by donation only. She does the philanthropy structure. Yeah. Energy philanthropy. So that's totally there for you if you choose, only if you choose. So thank you so much, Marina, for coming on the show. It's been a lot of fun. To the audience, I love you so much. We will be back with you next week. I will have on Paul, who will be talking about what the unenslaved and the educated mind sounds like and looks like. He's going to come on and tell you and show you how he educated himself to basically get himself out of the enslavement of the system and how to protect himself. So that'll be a great show. We'll have that next Tuesday, same